because everything's going to happen no matter what. But it's the question is, are you going to be part of it? And that is the great hope. And for me personally, I don't even need to be here anyway, you know. I'm just hanging around wait for my beard to grow or something, right? It's all of you guys that are going to be left behind. And it's just
where are you going?
Into another dimension. It's kind of like a big door will close behind me, and like a big wind made out of kind of like popping like popcorn. All I recommend to people is to read the Bible, just to read the Bible, and it will show you. God will show you the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, which is the invisible world which we go to. We call it the psychedelic world.
I got it.
They want to get as much information as they can about squatters and the problems that the normal public have when they report it to the government. And I feel that like most of the normal public has no idea about squatters anymore.
Ok, Nacho. ¿Qué tal?
Bien. Terminando el jardín.
¿En qué está trabajando, mi niño? ¿Qué está haciendo?
Pues nada, limpiando el jardín para que no se acerquen las ratas a la casa. No se queden ahí atrás en la montaña de basura. Así que aquí estamos quemando basura y quitando plantas.
So many times when I get up, I really don't understand if it's still a dream or it's a really city, this, with a really whole house, with a really people, or I don't know, like a movie. Como gente que ha sido pagada para ir a hacer compras, cuidar el coche, están todo ahí con una cara muy rara como de actor. Muchas veces siento a mí misma como una actriz que ha sido puesta en ese film, que ahora es London, es mi vida, y mi personaje no lo he elegido yo. Y muchas veces no me gusta, quería cambiar. This girl in the mirror is not me. No la reconozco.
Money is not capitalism. Trading is not capitalism. Capitalism is a system where the results of some people working, the wealth that you create, is accumulated. You get a little bit of it back as wages, and the rest of it gets accumulated and then used to employ and exploit more people and to get their wealth that they create and accumulate that, and then employ more people and exploit them and get the wealth they create. That's why we have 99% with nothing and 1% with everything.
Well, they're trying to kick us out of the houses. It's been written on the newspapers that they are trying to kick out the people that lives in private houses and trying to sort out the council houses. But we are not sure about that, because even though they try to do that, they're going to have like more than 30,000 people around in the streets in the same period of the Olympics starting as well. So it's going to be a great fucked up situation. We have thousands and thousands of empty houses in London, loads of it, and abandoned, and we're not doing anything wrong with it. I can understand people squatting and destroying places and stuff. Okay, they have to take care about that section, but we, like in the house where I'm living, it's much more very pacific. We take care of the house. We're a lot of different people, different countries, putting ideas together, talking about life, about our political system. We're debating. We are growing as a group of people. We're learning from this squatting experience as well.
And we stand together with occupations all over the world, because we know that just in the UK, in one country, we cannot stop ourselves being picked off by the bureaucrats, the corporations, multinationals and the plutocrats. And unless people all over the world rise against their governments, which have been bought by the plutocrats and the corporations, you're going to go on getting poorer and poorer. And I'd concentrate on growing your own vegetables if you want to survive.
You know, we have to stop the cuts and we have to stop the wars. And if we get that, then we'll have won some things, but always keep in our mind that that's not the limit of what we want. We want the 99% of wealth back that we've created.
There's musicians and artists basically who we brought amps, and we did a show yesterday, we can do more. So we want artists and musicians to come here to find us, because we are creating the Ministry of Fun. And just because we're creating it, we haven't got a Minister of Fun yet. We need well-versed people in the field of fun and good time.
I think something is changing in the people, at least. They're getting more closer, more feeling themselves. Like as people like in the city, they just walk around, they don't talk to each other, they don't touch each other, they don't have no contact, have no idea what the other person thinks about. Even they might be even working in the same office, they have no clue. But now I think they want to be together. People want to feel. So, who knows?
The politician for me just is a guy wearing an official uniform representing something, or the police or any system, and I don't think they, for example, exercise any power on the way I live my life.
They are going to make a lot of people think, maybe, but not to the important people that are the politicians and the people who have the money. They are not going to change.
Made you think about what is going on in this world. You know, like we come here, we start digging, start smashing, crushing, everything's getting broken down. And it's good progress, but to me it's going the wrong direction, you know?
Allora, adesso siamo 11 persone. Cioè in questa casa praticamente tutti quanti spacciano. Incredibile perché cioè si drogano tantissimo tutti i giorni, a nessuno gliene frega un cazzo di niente. Bussa la polizia, i vicini si lamentano, ma cioè regna l'anarchia. Mi fumo gli spinelli perché mi piacciono gli spinelli, non è che mi fumo gli spinelli e non lavoro, divento scema. Sono normale. Li fumo per rilassarmi, punto. Stai tranquilla. Poi io disegno, quindi mica. Le droghe mi piacciono perché mi fanno venire l'ispirazione per cose assurde.
I didn't know about squat and everything, and I so surprised. I couldn't accept when it's in the beginning. Was really crazy for me. But then I started like it and fell in love to this house and people here. It's become a part of me now. And the way people live here is amazing. They share, they bring whatever they can, and they like to give. And this is how it's supposed to be society, community live in a life.
En principio me parecía algo de super cool vivir en squat, como es una sobrevivencia urbana. Tú con lo poco que tienes vas a vivir bien. Lo que un poco me ha dado miedo en ese meses de vivir en squat es que en principio estuve en una mía choice, buscar un squat, vivir con gente que no conocía, pero luego cuando yo he pensado de hacer un paso adelante y por ejemplo rentar, no tenía la posibilidad. Entonces probaba como la sensación de estar en una trampa donde no podía subir.
Was growing in 90s, and in this period of time the only one symbol what exists is a dollar, and people follow very strongly, they follow the dollar. And this is most crazy spirit in the Russian history. This is the sale moment, you know, everyone in sale, and people don't give a shit how they can sell. They just sell anything is possible. The main important thing, came from Russia because I have a push from government, so they let me only 2 choices, going to army or going to jail. So I decided to leave and go somewhere else. I arrived this country with 20 pounds, I don't know nobody, so I just came. And I came with one guy supposed to meet me, but he didn't come in the end. So I think fucked, you know, totally. Manchester City, everything is new, people don't speak English, nothing. So I went to Jewish community and I said, listen, I'm Russian Jew, I ran away from Russian army, blah blah blah.
How did you prove them that you were Jewish?
I spoke Hebrew, this is good enough. And then after 2 days I have a place to stay, I have a job and everything. You need to believe everything happened for the good reason only, otherwise this is a life full of bollocks and you will get depressed anyway. So from my vision, most important point, to everything what's happened in your life is only for the good reason. And all you need to do, just be happy and do good things for everybody around. That's simple.
The cotton wool is going in here, which is a filter which slows down the gas and makes it not cold but warm enough so that it doesn't freeze your trachea whilst you're breathing it. Notice I'm wearing all white, and plus I've got cotton clothes touching my skin only. I've been in the bath from head to toe, washed myself, cleaned my teeth properly with mouthwash. This is all about cleanliness, and what this substance does is it cleans you on the inside. So I've cleaned myself on the outside, now I'm going to clean myself on the inside. And what you have to do, it's written in the Bible what you need to do, and attach it to your forehead, and that way you won't be destroyed when you're going into the spirit world. And this stone is called the Stone of Free Speech, and that's basically what the whole of English culture is based upon, which is the right of mankind to speak freely in this world. Because I'm going to get all the oxygen out of me, I need to oxygenize my blood by hyperventilating, which is what I'm doing now. I don't mind to die every man should be willing to give up his life. In the same way that Jesus Christ gave up his life, we're all ready to go. And soon, the doorway is opening up to all of us.
La gente está harta, ¿sabes? Es que no se puede seguir yendo así. Es que no hay futuro. Nosotros somos la primera generación que se ha dado cuenta que no tiene futuro de esta manera, ¿sabes? El capitalismo, este sistema ha llegado a un punto que no puede funcionar más.
So we are behind, I don't know, maybe it's a Chinese restaurant or something. And look at how much fucking breads they have.
Pues mira, aquí estamos haciendo uno de los principios básicos de la Cupa, que estamos cogiendo la basura para intentar alimentarnos, gastarnos el menor dinero posible y ya está, básicamente lo que estamos haciendo un poco el guarro, pero así conseguimos hacerlo un poquito más a nuestra manera, gastarnos menos dinero en lo que no nos tenemos que gastar, porque habiendo comida que te puedes comer perfectamente, que las tiendas las están tirando porque ni las venden y ellos no los pueden vender ya para el día siguiente, es todavía comida que puedes disfrutar, así que ¿por qué no cogerla?
Basically, there's no owner. The owner never appears. Like most of the squats never have a problem with the owner because the owner, doesn't care about the house. I'm not buying a house for £500,000, man. They should lower down the price of the house. Somebody like us would never can buy a house, man. If we take everything that we earned all our life.
Maybe you can have the first floor of the house or something like that.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Nothing stupid. So what do they expect? Nothing. Nothing about the society. Just take us to a dark future, and this is like the typical English slogan, the typical English punk slogan, no? Like no future, no, with the Sex Pistols and all these things. Yeah, at some point, it's a bit like that, no? Like no future. They are trying to build us a no future.
You can't think of an alternative way of life.
You have to live like this, and this is the only chance that you have.
Yeah.
You cannot.
So either be homeless or be in jail. If they want to criminalize squatting, it's almost like saying that. In some cases, at least, in most cases, I think.
In most of the cases, yeah, sadly.
It's just the government fucks up their minds. They show what they need to read and to see and write what they need to read. So, I decided to freak out today a little bit. Maybe we go out, we see. Holiday.
Dextromethorphan is one of the most beautiful drugs I've ever taken in my whole life. It has really brought my understanding of the world to a whole new level. I simply, it's almost like it was a communication between me and the universe. I've come to understand God in a new way.
You coming after work and it's 35-40 people in the house dancing crazy, doing lines and everything, so you start joining that straight away, and then it's happened many times, and it's going on for 2, 3, 4 days. You don't sleep. After party you're going to work, after work you're going to party, and it's really nice life.
After I moved into the squad and had this whole experiment on my own, that I'm going to try to understand characters and where people come from, why they behave the way they behave, and and also in relation to my own self, and understand more of how a society is made. And also I'm practicing a loss of subjectivity, as like losing the thought that I am me and trying to become somebody else. I like this saying, that greeting that the Mayans had. Every time they used to meet each other, they used to say "In Lakesh," which means I am another you. And they used to look into the eye of the other person and say "In Lakesh." And I sort of agree with that, because I feel that every other human being is another me, but in another unique place in space and time, and they have to experience life in their own way. But it's another me.
I'll put something on.
Always perfect.
Hashish.
Perfect.
What is it?
Ketamine. This one MD, don't do one.
No.
Ah,
I
go
don't
go.
wanna know.
Look,
Now I'm
look.
stoned. I'm quite
Look.
fine.
Later prepare, you prepare, I prepare spliff. And later another little bit God asleep. Huh? For you, for me. Huh? Okay, that. Half, what do you want? Later finish. This one. Listen, I see in the door looking me, the Valdis speak everybody together.
You are not here.
Another Salvador,
You're
understand?
out of your body.
Very triple. One day, playing the poker in the PC, in the internet. I listen the customer. Bravo. I think he's in the casino, my friend.
This is the revolution we've been waiting for. Yeah. 'Cause when you taste this, if you do it in a proper way, you will become a god. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Every religious book that you can ever find, it's all about this, the iron scepter. And that's what the Bible is all about. Yeah. When you taste that inside your lungs, you're never gonna get ill. Right? All illnesses and every disease is gone, finished, forever.
If you take acid, you sniff on the top as well?
Yeah.
Mix. For example, Dalai Lama, it's strong, man. So you don't feel.
With the Dalai Lama, I mix. Why not?
If you take acid, you drink alcohol, 5 beers, nothing.
No, I
You know?
drink alcohol. I change the face, change the comportment with the people. They mix the trip for trip and the trip the ketamine. Ma mix together.
No.
Is another.
I know it. Okay,
Ketamine
acid,
and MD.
LSD is a different level.
It only half.
Yeah, but
Only half. One is boom. That's it.
Stoned, no understand nothing, 2 hours, 3 hours, finish.
No, it's not that I ever thought or wanted to make a party. I really like to go to parties, to get crazy, take acid and, you know, get really crazy, you know, don't care if I get confused, get, you know, in front of girls, cannot talk, getting like embarrassed, you know, like this, you know, acting like a child. I don't care, it's a party, you're getting crazy, just that the music and the vibe, you know, takes you. Never thought I will organize something or will do something, but if I'm already doing it, you know, I'm doing it the way that I will want to have it, you know.
Oye, lo de cerrar la puerta rápido y ahora hay que hacerlo manualmente, para arriba y para abajo. Puta madre.
Para abajo también.
Para abajo también, ahora se ha roto el cable. ¿Te acuerdas que había que tirar nada más que un cable rojo? Pues se ha roto. Y ahí para que se mueva 1 centímetro a lo mejor tienes que mover como 10 metros de cadena. Para que se mueva 1 centímetro de puerta.
How about the sound system for here? Where's that?
He's getting it now.
We need it now.
This one. I was coming yesterday because I'm finished to work. I speak to Visha. Okay, I came in for you need a help. Yeah, come. I came for help something. We do it a big party, yeah. Yeah.
Parties here in London are just out of this world. They're like nothing. I mean, they are out of this world, man. They are so good.
Just we need a place for a party, you know. So like we just go and open it. Whatever happens, that happens. If we get evicted, we just take our stuff and straight away go look for the next place and do there the party.
There is something here.
Oh shit, I need to take photograph of the No Flowers poster. Before we leave, really, I need to take it.
Now I save the money for one van. Furgone. I understand the furgone? I can go in holiday. I want to go America. Go America with nave, pay the travel with nave and with van around the America, no?
I prefer to stay, do my stuff and go and see my friends and not to chat in the, you know?
Facebook is dangerous for everything. I don't see the link, nothing. Fuck off. Your problem. I mean, fuck off. What the fuck? Why you writing? Okay, why you writing your problem? My problem is enough and I don't want to listen to another problem. No.
Full of mushroom sperm. Mushroom spores. Yeah. Tell me something, if let's say now you've been in the army and they send you to some battle where basically really you know you're gonna die, yeah? But you're gonna die like defending on whatever, on your country, on the army that you're going, would you go? Or would you refuse?
No, I would refuse. I don't believe in fighting.
I would go.
I don't believe in a
it
country
doesn't matter what I
of
believe
mine,
in. It's
no.
not because what I believe in.
Then why what you would go? Somebody
Because I
told you
need
to go to the army and
yeah,
you go.
because I need to go. Because you cannot compare your home or your country or your whatever, your people.
I don't have a
your,
country, man. What your country? You're forcing a country on me? I don't want a country. Why are you giving me a country?
Okay, again, today when I had the choice, you see, I left to London and I left to UK just not to be there really, because I know that on a situation that if I will need to do this, I will fight, of course, because it means something to me, you know what I mean? And what it means and why it means, it's because it's already rooted, you know what I mean?
You believe it's rooted.
Huh? I don't believe it's rooted.
And every day,
I can break
by,
it, of
by
course,
all,
but it's still rooted.
all the faith
'Cause
you
every
have in your
time that-
belief, you make it stronger and stronger and stronger. This is what happens, man. Like, basically, when
Yeah.
you were born, you had no idea of country till someday somebody told you, hey, little boy, this is what a country is and this is your country, you know. That's when the belief started, and from that day it's becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. No?
So everyone that you were
won't,
born,
but-
first of all, you get
you
your
don't-
identity,
you
get your
don't-
nationality,
No,
you get
no.
your people.
And nationality is fake identity, man. It's just
No,
people.
man, this is for you,
People who
not for
don't
me.
trust other people
No,
and
no.
they draw lines. This is how. It's
But-
all human beings, man.
Yeah, but it's for
some
you.
other manufacturer made Indians and some other manufacturers made blacks and some other manufacturer made you or what?
Unfortunately, if I would live like this without any of these desires and without any of this, my parents will be very disappointed. What can I do? I don't live my life for my parents, but you still in some point, whatever. I'm not saying just was a bad example like my parents, because it's myself as well, you know.
Yeah, no.
You
no,
know what
I'm
I
not
mean?
saying
But whatever,
that.
I will be like
I'm saying
also
even
like,
that. Don't be as a rule. If you want to, if you feel like living in that fashion, live in that fashion. If you don't live in that fashion, but don't put somebody else or something else as an excuse, you know. Or okay, maybe I want to do this, maybe not, but for my parents, never.
But you know, every person judges like by his, you know, I judge like, I cannot judge like how they judge in India. Like, you know, I judge how they judge in Russia.
No, man, trust me.
We need a revolution. It's not good enough now.
No innocent people have died.
If they
No
kill the
women and
people-
children have died.
If you terrorist and you take your wife and kid around you 24 hours per day, yeah, around you, close, and the whole world want to kill you, yeah.
It's
so
okay
what
to
you
kill
do?
that woman and
yeah,
child. It's
yeah,
okay.
because you need to kill him.
Vish, they go like this.
Vish, we
Vish,
have problems
Vish,
that
if
you
you
don't know
my
and
child
take your
and I
nose
was a
out.
Palestinian, I will hold you like this and shoot like this. Swear to God, like this. Yes,
don't-
if
you
I
don't know
were a
what you're
soldier,
talking
I
about.
would shoot you to shoot
it.
me.
Don't
You
get
understand
soldier.
that, Vish? You would do the same
No, but
thing, man.
you're too
Same
fucked.
thing.
You're too fucked up anyway to indulge in any kind of violence. So you don't even have to tell. You don't have the balls because you only can like smoke and talk shit. So you don't even have the balls, so you don't talk about protecting a woman while killing the other people because it's only your dreams.
Till now, we talk about Israel. Now we talk about anti-Semitic, and you are anti-Semitic.
I don't know what is Semitism. How can I understand what is anti-Semitic, man? Come on.
You don't need to
Explain me.
understand it to be like that.
To be
you don't need to
anti-Semitic.
understand it.
That's
you,
a very
you can be like that and
convenient
don't
excuse,
understand
man.
it.
That's a very. It's a closed circuit fucking logic, man. You can't get out of it. You know, it's based on faith. So you think that anybody who doesn't have faith in the way you live is wrong, which is wrong according to me, because I'm open circuit.
So
I don't know where I'm going.
All
you know,
what you are, it's anti-Semitic.
I think you're just a square mentality person who's living in a two-dimensional Euclidean way of thought, like a person in Dhaka or Mogadishu, or that you need to evolve a little more, and that you need to understand that human beings, no matter how they are born or where they are born, they didn't have a choice of where they are born, and so they're principally equal, and they can be programmed in a way metaphysically or mentally to form certain constructs of logic and to form certain ideas of what their reality is. And you have a certain construct and I have a certain construct, and that's all it is. They're all basically constructs, but reality is all around us anyway. But because we are governed by these constructs, we see so many things and we have so many opinions, but these opinions don't matter, man. It's all about love.
Okay, it's all about love and you're anti-Semitic.
And now I'm going to America. I have a mission there, so mission must be complete in 3 months. It's a bit risk, but it's not discussable now, to be honest. It's not a good point from beginning in the day, think about this. When you die, you will be in the judgment, and the judgment will put in the scale every your movements, man.
You never think that some of the actions that you do are shattering many people's prayers, like indirectly. If you believe that everything came from one source and if all human beings are equal, then you wouldn't want to harm any other human being. But so many of your actions every day harm other human beings, right?
To be honest, I don't really get your question.
No, it's like so many things that you do. Like, for example, the ticket that you booked has harmed somebody's prayers, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So, what's the point of praying when you know consciously that your action has gone against somebody else's prayer? How do you expect the God or Hashem or the universe to accept your thanks?
For example, the guy who I bought the ticket from, he sounds strange. Listen, the guy who will take the account details, he from San Francisco. This is like a science from me. He could be from anywhere in the world, but he from this city, and this is like science for me. Fucking hell.
No, whether science or not, you still didn't answer my question. Don't you feel that it shatters his prayers? So, how do you expect the God to be?
Okay, because finally I see he will find out he loses money, and the bank will cover it, and the bank money cover insurance company, company cover government. So actually everything fine. Nobody get loose. I just get something back because I didn't get.
But you cannot be sure of that, right?
I'm sure of that.
How can you be sure of that?
Because the guy who learned how
not all cards are insured. If it's a credit card, definitely.
Yeah,
it's not
man,
insured.
but the platinum and gold card, they always insured. Man, I tell you, they can take not 1,000, they can take 20, 30,000, and they spend 20, 30,000 a day. It could be that, man. So this is people.
So they should be happy that it's just 1,000.
Yeah, of course.
And you can justify that in your prayer.
I'm feel a little bit because I should have a legal business and good income every time, but I don't have a good income, so I have to use something else till it's happened. And then I pray, I have a legal business and good income, and I don't need to steal anymore.
It's a good prayer.
But Robin Hood, he also steal,
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying it's wrong. I was just asking you some
Lunedì sera finiscono i party, quindi lunedì sera si torna a casa e siamo tutti morti, fusi, non sappiamo dove buttarci, dove giacere, magari c'è qualcuno che non abita neanche a casa nostra, che è coricato da qualche parte. Il martedì e il mercoledì ogni settimana qualcuno è depresso. Questa è la depressione post party. Il giovedì si inizia a entrare in paranoia per altro. Sono tutti quanti indebitati sino al collo perché sono dei tossici. Quindi devono fare i carichi però per farsi il business durante la settimana. Quindi iniziano le telefonate, inizia a venire la gente a casa. Io sono la ragazza delle commissioni, quindi io vado a recuperare tutto quanto dappertutto. E in cambio mi pagano. E quello che mi pagano magari lo vendo, mi faccio i soldi per la sera. Si inizia a vendere il fine settimana, tutti quanti vanno a ballare. Negli ultimi 2 mesi in casa mia siamo stati arrestati in 4 il fine settimana. Arrestati in 4. Too much drugs is international. La droga secondo me sta rovinando un sacco di gente. Sta facendo proprio diventare scemi. Cioè la gente parte nei posti per comprarsi cose, per magari mangiarsele, rifarle in altre nazioni per soldi. Sono fusi.
Let's see how much temperature and humidity. No? 18.2, 60% humidity. Just need 10 temperature upper, will be 28, 60% humidity, and perfect. We have White Russian in 3 months already.
We're making our own compost pit here because we have a problem with our toilet drain, and all the sanitation is blocked just near the main door and the door of the neighbor. So they're pretty pissed off and it's an inconvenience for us as well. So we called a Russian guy to fix it, who took 50 pounds just to come and smoke a cigarette here and tell us what we need to do. So we got really pissed off and we wanted to fix it our own way, and we are trying to make a pit so that we can put all the shit into the pit. The work that you're doing is responsible for the way you live, and you're making the way you live better, so it feels good.
Actually, you're supposed to go to a meeting, no? Today?
Yeah, to discuss my dissertation film, but right now this is more important. Hey, we can do it the other meeting later as well. Prioritize the important tasks.
Aslam! Aslam! Double!
Maybe a few hundred flies are buzzing around us. Feel pulsations going all the way through me. Like I'm really alive. The Lord detests the thoughts of the wicked, but those of the pure are pleasing to him. Like, for example, we're fine, yeah?
Right from the day the squad was open until today, there's just been a graph going up of improvements to the space, you know.
It was like we built a family. No, between all that difference, all the different kind of life, at the end we built something, no? That this was like the plan. The plan it was like, okay, man, we need a house, we need to find a place, we're gonna stay there, we are gonna fight for our place.
Of course, we have some issues like every community has, even the larger communities have, but much less compared to the larger communities, you know, compared to the problems of the bigger world.
Much less for sure.
We bury our shit.
So narrow, so thin. But it's alright, if you go there, it's alright. Now I don't want to exhaust me, I save my energy. And also all the people from, there is another party and they will come here, definitely.
I don't have words for describe this experience. 35 years old and this is my first experience in a psychedelic, I don't know, but I'm completely fusion with the nature, your mind, your psyche, the really life. You can do everything, no? If you try to do everything. And you can open your minds more fun. Never imagine that. Fuck. It's incredible, it's impossible, no? Whatever you have imagined possible, to do possible in the life.
Mi año de psicodelia, de really psicodelia, cada fin de semana tomar ketamina y es como que tú tienes una vida paralela. Está tu vida normal cuando estás despierto y la ketamina que es otra, que es la misma pero es otra. Y cada vez que tomas ketamina es como que sigues un sueño que es perfecto. Es como que he visto la fiesta de una perspectiva diferente. It's like a church. Every weekend people go to the party, they have to smile, they have to dancing, and it's not more for me. I won't find another energy, but it's really hard because all my really funny moment happened with the drugs. I really feel the origin from Sicily. I wanna stay with my family. For the first time in my life, I miss my father. It's incredible. And I'm tired. I won't just stay near my mother and really understand what I did in these 10 months in London.
We're in a bit of a problem here because however much we may plan and say this is what we want, the route to how to get it comes up against these megaliths who basically have all the wealth that we've created over many generations. They have it all. So part of our plan has to be not only what do we want, but how do we get it back from them.
All the poverty is sort of reducing carbon. It might put off global warming by a few months in sort of 40 years' time, but we've got to work together collaboratively to avoid the doomsday scenario and preferably to avoid the kind of downturn of more hungry people that we're seeing in the third world. And if you don't do something pretty soon, one day it's going to hit you, or if it doesn't hit you, your children and your grandchildren.
Dreams is reality, mate. You don't even remember your dreams. Well done. 2,000 years of civilization. Sorry that we destroyed this beautiful paradise that we was created for. Sorry that it's all going to be turned inside out. Sorry that you're all going to be destroyed. Sorry. But you better tell your children and your children's children that they don't exist.
How are you feeling, man?
Good man, good man.
Why? Tell me. Tell me why.
Why?
Why are you feeling good today? Because it's sunny. Why are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Why?
Oh, why? No, I'm happy. For
Sunny day, no? Spring, the garden.
Yeah, nice garden.
Hey, I need to. Where is this? Can you give me a wooden bat? Can I try? Is that it?